I'm gonna show you how these two teamed up to override the FDA. No, the FDA, the well, for the Food Drug and Administration Office, I believe FDA, the Food Drug Administration. Yes, I believe I got that right. That give the okay, but these two is overriding that. And I'll show you a video of this man talking about it. Please listen to the video, but let me show you these pictures first, so you can see you know, I ain't BSing. See that right? Okay. See that one right? Okay. Now you see that one right? So these two, him and the CDC, is overriding the FDA, the one that tell you what's good for you and what's not good for you. But you see, two people quit. But I'm gonna let you. I'll let you hear the video because of the frustration of this man trying to be a dictator and overriding everything else. But no more talking. Let me just show you. Let's listen to this man, please. Hold up.
Of COVID vaccines, so-called boosters, to millions of Americans. Didn't see that coming, but the administration never explained why it was necessary or scientifically justifiable. They never bothered. Instead, with characteristic aggression, they simply decreed it was going to happen. The new shots would go out, they informed us, no later than this week, the end of the week of September 20th, which is right now. That was the deadline. The weird thing is, it turns out that no one had bothered to tell the scientists about this. So two leading vaccine experts at the FDA promptly resigned. Several more announced they were thinking of quitting. Then Biden's COVID czar, a former Facebook board member with no medical background called Jeff Zients, assured the country, no problem. None of this is a cause for alarm. People resigning in protest, no big deal. The decision to give extra COVID shots, Zients said, was, quote, made by and announced by the nation's leading public health officials. Really? Which leading public health officials exactly? Well, Jeff Zients didn't tell us. Clear something was going on here. And then last week, the entire lie unraveled completely. A panel of the FDA's vaccine experts, in other words, actual leading public health officials, blew up the whole idea in a single afternoon. By a vote of 16-2, not close at all, they emphatically rejected Joe Biden's plan for more shots. And for a moment, that seemed like a rare win for science and for public safety. That decision, said a former FDA official, quote, put the FDA back in the driver's seat and, quote, maintained the FDA's scientific independence from politicians. But just for a minute, because in Joe Biden's America, there is no independence from politicians. Shortly after midnight on Thursday, the college professor who Biden appointed to run CDC, Rochelle Walensky, simply overruled the FDA panel. She didn't cite any scientific basis for overruling actual scientists. She just did it, and she did it because she can do it, because she's in power and you're not. You wouldn't call that, however you might describe it, following the science. You might instead call it total corruption of public health by a political party. That's what it is. And if you doubt it, take a look at Joe Biden's press conference from today, in which he blamed the entire COVID pandemic on people who didn't vote for him.
The unvaccinated also put our economy at recovery at risk, causing unease in the economy causing unease around the kitchen table. I can imagine what's going on in the conversations this morning, and a lot of parents wondering what's going to happen. What's going to happen? Those who have been vaccinated, what's going to happen? Potentially slowing economic growth, costing jobs. The refusal has cost all of us. The refusal to get vaccinated has cost all of us. I'm moving forward with vaccination requirements wherever I can.
Huh? So we don't have enough workers because people aren't getting vaccinated? We don't have enough workers because you're paying people not to work. Drive around America, the stores are closed because people aren't working because the government is paying them not to work. So if you're worried about the worker crisis, look in the mirror, pal. But let's get to the core allegation here, that the unvaccinated are somehow dangerous to the rest of the country. That's what the president just said. Before we assess all of Biden's claims, let's take a quick trip back to reality. So unvaccinated people may theoretically be in danger of getting sick from COVID. Everybody's got to make that determination personally based on your age and your health. But the unvaccinated pose precisely zero danger to anyone who has been vaccinated. None. Let's repeat that because it's the central point here and it's almost never made. If you are vaccinated against COVID-19, you face no conceivable danger whatsoever from people who have not been vaccinated. Unvaccinated people cannot hurt you, so calm down. That's the science. And if you don't believe the science, then you have instead embraced witchcraft and superstition. Please get a grip and excuse yourself from any conversation about public policy because you are too irrational to contribute to it. Again, the vaccinated face no health threat from the unvaccinated. And the fact the president is claiming otherwise is shocking and wrong. Now to Biden's claim that the unvaccinated are somehow destroying our hospital system. Oh, the irony, one of many. This is the same president who is allowing hundreds of thousands of illegal aliens to enter our country every single month and promising them all free health care. So the next time you show up at the emergency room and can't get in, the next time your injury or illness is ignored because there aren't enough people to serve you in the hospital, you can rest assured it's not unvaccinated Americans who are clogging the system. It's not. It's the rest of the world. In just 8 months, Joe Biden has done more than any president in our history to wreck the American healthcare system. And yet, he is blaming it in one of the great acts of political diversion ever on people who won't take the shot.
But this is a pandemic of the unvaccinated. The unvaccinated overcrowd our hospitals, overrunning emergency rooms and intensive care units, leaving no room for someone with a heart attack or a cancer operation needed to get the life-saving care because the places where they would get that care are crowded. They are not available.
It's such an outrageous lie. It's unbelievable. More than 1 million people coming in this year who he promised free health care. And he's blaming it on people who didn't get the shot, many of whom have natural immunity and are less likely to get sick than a vaccinated person from COVID? What a lie. But let's assume it's true. Let's assume emergency rooms and ICUs are overrun with the unvaccinated. Then why is the Biden administration forcing healthcare workers to quit with vaccine mandates? That's happened across the country. Whole wards in hospitals have been shut down because of Joe Biden's mandates. It might be nice to have more doctors and nurses around in an emergency. By the way, at this point, and it could change, emergency rooms are not overrun with COVID patients. More than 20% of inpatient beds in this country are open and available as of tonight. That's according to HHS data. Intensive care units, which are supposed to be occupied as close to capacity as possible, are not full anywhere in the country. What we do have, and it's getting worse, is a severe staffing shortage at hospitals. Massive. And the mandates are making it much, much worse. Ask anyone in healthcare in the state of California, or in any state. At one major hospital in Dallas, the Parkland Health and Hospital System, there's no one to bathe or turn patients anymore. They don't have enough staff. At the University of Arkansas's Medical Center in Little Rock, officials have been offering $25,000 signing bonuses to new nurses, and yet they are still short-staffed. So looking at that, that is a crisis. What's Joe Biden's answer? Fire as many nurses as possible, because the unvaccinated, according to Joe Biden, are the root of all these problems. It's the pandemic of the unvaccinated. Think about that. Blaming regular Americans for a virus that American bureaucrats funded and the Chinese military created. If you don't follow his made-up laws with no precedent in all of American history, you're the reason we're all suffering. It's your fault, Middle America. Of course it is. It's always Middle America's fault. What a lie. And no, it's not just a pandemic of the unvaccinated. That's a lie too. It's just not true. Vaccines do appear to lower the death rate across the population from COVID, but they certainly don't prevent death from COVID. They don't. Look at the CDC numbers. According to the CDC, thousands of vaccinated Americans have died so far of COVID-19. According to the CDC, about 13,000 more have been hospitalized with life-threatening COVID symptoms. Vaccinated people. Doesn't mean the vaccines are bad or not worth taking. We're not making that case. We're just making the obvious, scientifically justifiable observation that no, it's not just the unvaccinated who get sick and die from COVID. It's not. That's a lie. The Biden administration knows it's lying. They do it anyway, and so do their lackeys. Here's The View this morning.
It's still these unvaccinated people that concern me the most. Look at the numbers.
Yeah.
They're not lying. These are the facts. Get your vaccine.
So it is surprising to me that parents across the country are still anti-vaxxers, they're anti-mask, they're anti-mandate, but they're not protecting their own children. So you can't just say, well, I'm not going to take the vaccine because it is my choice. It is no longer your choice when you have to, when your decisions are impacting other people.
Oh, impacting other people how exactly? Damn those people from dying of COVID. When are we going to start attacking other categories of people for making unwise health choices? Someone dies of diabetes. Is the View going to attack them for eating too many potato chips? Are we going to start yelling at people with AIDS for their bad life choices? How about hepatitis or cancer? What is this anyway? Normally we wouldn't air View clips from The View. They're too stupid and they're too predictable. But here's what happened a few minutes later on The View, and we did not predict this.
I need the two of you to step off for a second.
Okay.
Anna and
And we're going to bring you
Sonny
back later.
have to
Okay,
leave.
yeah.
Yes.
And we'll tell you why.
More information later. It's a tease.
We'll tell you why in a couple of minutes. Since this is going to be a major news story any minute now,
Yeah.
what happened is that Sonny and Anna both apparently tested positive for COVID. No matter how hard we try, these things happen. They probably have a breakthrough case, and they'll be okay, I'm sure, because they're both vaccinated up the wazoo.
It's a tease when someone gets COVID. What narcissist. But here's the bottom line. Two hosts on The View, both of them vaccinated, get COVID at the same time. You're supposed to believe this makes a powerful case for forcing millions of Americans who have natural immunity to get the shot at gunpoint. Really? You gotta wonder, is anyone convinced by this stuff anymore?
So they all working together. They had to lead the show. I ain't watched to the end, but they had to lead the show because they been but they still call it. But they had to lead, right? And then they don't let the people that supposed to administrate the stuff to you, the top people that, well, I said the drug, they quit because something ain't right. But they still telling you. But then what? Hold up. They talk about the kids, right? It's not your choice no more. But we could go back. We could go back to abortion if you want to. Not whatever. Without heart, that's a heartbeat. So that's not your choice no more. But that's a whole different story, man. Just to forget it. You know what? Before they even came out with the you was allowed to go places. Just cover your mouth up, right? Like we go to the mall and everything, right? But now that's not reasonable now. Now that's a problem right now. But anyway though, what I'm trying to say is it's a power grab over your life. It's a power grab over your constitutional rights. It's a power grab over your liberties. That's basically what it is. That's basically what it is. If you don't wake up and you don't see it, then hey, whatever. People will live, people will die from it from it, and from it, and from not getting it, whatever. That's how it is. Like the flu and everything. That's life. I don't want it to happen, but that happens. But they lying to us. They hiding stuff to us, from us. They using scare tactics. Just be aware of what's going on and wake up. And one more thing. Fear. That's their weapon. Fear and intimidation. And fear and intimidation. They've been using it ever since slavery. Fear, intimidation. KKK, fear and intimidation. I'll say this again. They call themselves, remember, Democrat Socialists. Joe Biden supported Marxism, put Marxism military. Marxism, communism, fear and intimidation. They gotta use fear. They gotta fear you to give. They gotta put fear and intimidation and all the stuff he's doing to bring in what they trying to do to us. So you have to stand back and fight against it, no matter how you, no matter like, oh no, it's no, because their agenda is not what it seems to be. Fear, intimidation. They're using that to bring in the destruction of America, your freedoms. They say, oh, but don't like the flag behind me, whatever. But do you like your freedom? Do you like your constitution? Oh, we don't have the constitution. I'm enjoying my constitutional rights right now. I'm speaking freely. I can go whatever and defend myself. I can go anywhere around this country I want to. So, what you mean? I could do wildcat. I could do everything. I could do everything right now what my ancestors couldn't do. Like I said, I could do everything right now that my ancestors couldn't do. So what you mean so what you mean? I have so what you mean about the constitutional rights? Everything that my ancestors couldn't do, I could do right now. And you don't gamble that with this? Are you? With that? What they doing? You better stand up and fight back. Or you too plantation minded. Or you too gullible. Or you think something wrong, we need to be rewritten or whatever. No, you better wake up and realize the fight is on again, just like it was back in slavery. It was like it was back in Jim Crow. These are the same people. They're just doing it in a different manner. You better wake up and realize what they're doing. And nothing different. I showed you the papers.